this is well thought out for my game and how my game suits this golf course. So just a nice little quick 10-minute video for me to look back on more than anything, and I'll share it with you guys. So here we go. We got a map of hole 1 right here. I'll anticipate us teeing off on either tee box number 2 or tee box number 3. Okay, so that gives you about 250 yards. There's a little group. This is actually a group of about 3 trees right there. So there's 2 different plays on this hole. You can pound driver up into the rough, up in here, and carry this tree and totally take it out of play. And it brings this water less into play because you can hit it left, or you can hit about a 5-iron and be 150 out up here, which is what I'm planning on doing, is hitting a 5-iron about 150 out into the fairway. And then, my quick notes is, so, you can look at the second group of trees, which is what I shared, and behind this green, in between these 2 bunkers, so back in there, there's a large grass bunker that is just dead if you go into, so you gotta avoid that. So here we are on hole 2. Hole 2 is a par 5. As you can tell, you got a little layup, and then you can hit your second shot up into here, or you can lay up to here. Even if you're right here, you're just inside of 150. So I anticipate us going off of probably the 3rd tee box here is my plan. And to the front of this fairway isn't that far from tee box number 1. Let's see, it's about 180. So really, as long as you can hit something 180, and there's room left over here, it's just rough. If you hit it 180, then you still only have about a 180-yard layup here, if that's what you're planning on doing, which is what I'm planning on doing. I hit 4-iron off this hole today and had about a 140-yard layup and then about a 140-yard third shot. I don't think this is a driver hole, in my opinion, no matter what you're doing. And yeah, I have it written down to play conservative. And so short of this green over here on the left side, there's about a group of 3 grass bunkers that you really have to try and avoid. And then up here, well, you can kind of see it. So this severe slope right here extends all the way up past this green. It's kind of like the right side of number 2 at Fort Scott, except it's directly behind. And you can use that bank to your advantage. I think it kind of falls down to the middle, like back middle of the green if you throw it up on that bank. Then we are here on hole 3. It's a par 3, it's pretty straightforward. The only tough part about it is when they're gonna tuck the pin. I anticipate tucking the pin over this bunker, which is a lot closer to the green than what it looks in there. You will have to avoid this bunker if they do that. And there's a fairway. This whole spot over here is fairway, and it's a pretty fairly easy spot to get up and down from, I believe. And other than that, it's just pretty straightforward hole. These 2 back bunkers aren't good. They kind of have some like grass and X in them that could give you a pretty hard bunker shot. And I mean, the green's pretty straightforward. As I wrote down, the bailout's left into that fairway area. So if you get through those first 3 holes, I believe, are 3 of the toughest holes in the golf course. So hole 4 is definitely a hole that I have down as a driver hole, and attacking this hole, taking it over this corner for me. And if you can avoid these 2 fairway bunkers right here, you are absolute green light. You're gonna be 230 from the green, and this is a green that there's not much trouble up by. I personally attack this hole. For the shorter hitters, you guys can, it's just a straight shot down the fairway, and it's still, see from tee, it's 250 yards probably. And the green's pretty severe. There's kind of a neck down in the middle of the green, as you can tell right there. And I anticipate him putting the pin down in there for sure. And that's an easy pin. And then I bet they're going to tuck it over here on this right side also. So yeah, I have driver in play and, attack this hole. Hole 5 is a short hole. You can hit driver up 50, 60 yards from the green, or you can hit 4-iron and be 100. So I think if you can, I didn't take this bunker out of play. I actually rolled one up past this bunker, but you can also take this bunker out of play and still have 125 into the green, which is definitely a play. There's 3 trees over here on the right that you have to avoid. But if you get up in this side slope right there, that's not a very good spot to be, even if you're right of the bunker in the rough. And this is a green where, as you can tell, there's a big little ridge right there. So you definitely want a fuller second shot, in my opinion, to control the spin a little bit more and be able to control your distance just a little bit more. I'll speed things up a little bit here. We're on to hole 6. Hole 6 is, this hole plays predominantly into the wind. There's tall grass in play, I believe, all up here along the left. It's not too far off the fairway. And then you see these 2 fairway bunkers right here. The way I played this hole is I hit a little stinger 4-iron just short of these bunkers. And what you can tell, it's 150 from right there. So this was the longest hole I played on the course. I had 160 into this green. And it's a pretty open second shot, as long as you make sure to avoid this left greenside bunker. This right one isn't an awful spot to be, though. I stay short of the right bunkers, and then I think the second shot into this hole definitely plays longer than the number for sure, and that helps that it's into the wind. But I hit like a knockdown 7 and a knockdown 8 that both ended up short on that hole. Hole 7, if we play the tips on this hole, it's a beast. I didn't today, but it's a par 3. The main miss is going to be over here, hole high, middle of the green right. It flattens out a little bit over there if you're missing this green. If you're anywhere over here, it's definitely a tough second shot, and short or long right. This is a hole where you want to save a good shot. And anywhere short, you have like a fairway lie, and it's definitely attackable. You can get up and down from short for sure. The greens, not much to it. I didn't study this green too much. I can tell there's definitely a way to work it off the left side if you have to. And I have hit a good shot and bail out right. It's a tough for par 3. Hole 8, you got water all up along the right. It's definitely in play. The water's very in play, as are these fairway bunkers over here on the left. I hit a 4-iron to about 150 out, and it kind of took this bunker out of play. It did leave me a pretty awkward side hill lie out there in the middle of the fairway, but those are going to come on this golf course. There's lots of side hill lies, and the second shot plays pretty easy. You do have to avoid this bunker right here, especially, but they tucked the pin over here on the left today, so I don't see him. I'd probably see him putting it front and then somewhere middle back right in the tournament, kind of taking that bunker out of play, but maybe not. I have written down is play to the 150 marker and then avoid the left bunker up by the green. I'm gonna sit up. Alright, so now we got hole 9 here. Hole 9 is drivable from the shorter tees, and I hit some drivers on this hole today. It's definitely a hole, it gets pretty open. It gets pretty open for sure. However, you can definitely play this hole, let's see, 100 yards, 373, 48. You can hit something like 220 or 220 and have 100 yards out, which I'm thinking how I'll play this hole the first day, and then if I need to make a move on the second day, I can hit driver up here, even into those bunkers. It's about 340 from the forward tees. All these numbers on here are measured from the tips, so that's why the numbers are longer than it actually looks. And the green severely slopes off in the back, but I mean, there's not much. I've written down, you can hit any club off this tee, and this is definitely a birdie hole. There's a couple of birdie holes on the front. This is for sure one of them. On to hole 10. I think this hole is the hardest in the golf course. It's a par 5, plays back into the wind. So your tee shot, there's out of bounds along this right-hand side, and this water all up the left. From the tees I played today, it's about 250 to this water. I hit a little punch 4-iron, and then I hit punch 4-iron to about 150. I played this hole pretty conservatively. This is a hole if you make par on, you walk away with an absolute smile on your face. You'd be very happy. It's a tough second shot too, because this water creeps up into the screen, especially if they tuck this hole back right, which is where it was today, so they may not, but you never know what they're going to do. Now, this is definitely a hole. Yeah, I just have written down conservative. I don't have too many notes because the course play is pretty straightforward. I'm thinking they're going to put the pin up in this flat spot and then maybe down here short and kind of limit this water out of play because it's already a brute of a hole. 11 is a shorter par 4. It's one that you can attack with a driver if you want to. It's only 360 to 340, I would say. That's not my plan. I think there's a little group of trees over here on the right that if you just hit 4-iron and kind of stay short of them, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And you have, 100 to 80 yards. And this is a green that you can't go long on, and it's pretty severe. It's got about 3 sections, 1 section, 2 sections, 3 sections. They're probably not going to put it up here. That's where it was today. I bet it's going to be down here and up there. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do on this golf hole. I've written down iron on the tee and, attack this hole. This hole's a birdie hole for sure. And you can't go long of this green. You can tell that because if you go long, there's a bunker out here that you can run short off of, and you can tell the severe slopes along the whole edges of this green. Hole 12 is a hole, so right up here, you can't see it on here. It's going to be a blind second shot. There's about a 40 foot tall mound right here that makes the second shot play pretty tough. For me, I do have this as a driver hole, because if I hit driver, these 3 bunkers on this right hand side, they don't come into play. It's about a 280 yard carry from the fronter tees, from the blues and whites, and that leaves you about 100 to 80 to 100 yards in, and that's the way I kind of want to attack this hole. I have it written down as driver, and because if you can carry those bunkers, there is more room right than what appears. And this is about a 2-section green. As you can tell, there's a firm ridge right there. Hole 13. The par 3s on this golf course are tough. 13 is a very, very tough hole. You can't go long because you can tell the way the greens run away from you right there, all along the back. However, there is a mound, so if you want to throw it up on that mound and hope it comes back, that's a way to play the hole. It's riskier, and so this bunker right here, even if they tuck the pin, even if they tuck the pin right in there, I'm able to nip that ball. The lip on that bunker isn't terrible. It's a doable bunker shot for sure, and if they put the pin back here, it's going to be 200 yards, and that bunker's a likely spot to be. And I have written down half foot on this hole, if that gives you any indication on how tough that golf hole is. Hole 14 is going to play predominantly downwind. I think it's a driver hole as long as you avoid this bunker on the right. And if you avoid this bunker on the right, you can tell it's 45 yards. The fairway is 45 yards wide right here. It's a very, very wide golf hole, and there's way more room left than looks like on the tee. I remember playing it out of Railer, and today I pulled one left, and it was in the fairway, by far. It's pretty flat, relatively flat green, as you can tell. Yeah, I have driver room left, and then on your second shot, long is dead, especially if you get up into those 2 bunkers, and there's fairway all up short of the screen, so long is definitely a spot to be able to chip from. 15's another hole that leaves you with a decision. As you can tell, there's lots of numbers right there. So there's 2 bunkers right in the middle of this fairway, and it's kind of the landing zone. If you're not hitting driver, it's about 125 from there. Now, there's a play on this hole where you hit driver and you hit it up by the green, even from some longer tees. It gets very tight as you get up there. As you can tell, it's 32 yards wide. Right where my finger is, there it is. And as you can tell, as it gets up here, it gets half that wide, 10 to 15 yards. Driver's a risky play. I'm thinking the first day I'm going to hit an iron up into here, stay right of these bunkers, and that'll still leave you 130 in. I mean, it's 125 across there to the, if you're in those bunkers. So if you hit something up in there, it's still a pretty short golf hole. On to holes. Oh, here I have. Yeah, off the tee, the club's your choice, and it's a birdie hole. The green's relatively flat, as you can tell. There's some slopes over here on the right, or on the left, but the left isn't the spot to miss this shot. The right is all the way. No bunkers around the green. It's a pretty easy second shot. 16's a par 5 that for me, and probably for even a couple of you guys, is definitely gettable. It's a tighter driving hole, but there's definitely some space. The key is, for me, to avoid these 2 bunkers on the right. And if I avoid those 2 bunkers on the right, I'm going to have inside of 200 yards into this golf hole, which is definitely the way you want to attack this par 5, is avoid these 2 bunkers on the right on the tee shot, and then avoid those two bunkers right there. The green, it's one of the toughest greens on the golf course. As you can tell, it extends all the way up into there. They're going to put the pin up in there sometime, one of the days, and I anticipate the other day they're putting it down in there. You definitely have a big ridge right here. If the pin's up here, you got to make sure on your 3rd shot, if you're hitting a wedge or something, to get up there 100%. You know, it's an accurate drive, and it's a birdie hole if you hit an accurate drive, if not an eagle hole. 17 is by far the easiest par 3 on the golf course. It's only 150. There's a little bunker that kind of jets up into the green right here, but it's a relatively, flip onto the other page so you guys can see, it's a relatively flat green, except for over here on the far left, which they're probably not going to put the pin over there. They may, but this is definitely a hole where a good tee shot is going to end up in a good spot. It's a flat green. I mean, I don't have any notes written down. It's the hole straight in front of you. You see what to miss. Avoid this bunker right here, and long isn't the best. 18, straight up the hill, straight into the wind. It's a longer golf hole. As you can tell, lots of fairway bunkers. I think the play is, for me, it's hitting an iron off of this golf hole. It's hitting a 4-iron, left me 130 into this hole today, and I'm able to run it up in between those bunkers. I hit a great golf shot, but that's my plan for the tournament. And this is one of the more severe greens also on this golf course. There's 2 tiers, 1, 2, and the ridge in the middle is huge, and along the back you can spin something off the whole way. I have it written down as playing pretty conservative, because this is one where you just want to aim on the middle of the green and hope you have a relatively flat putt that you're able to 2-putt. All in all, that's the last hole. This golf course is definitely one that you can attack on holes, but not every hole you want to attack. See y'all tomorrow.